I think we're a lot better team this year. We have a lot more pitching. We have very good bats 1 through 9, and then even guys that aren't even in the lineup. We have they're contributing when they need to. We have a lot of talent that I think can make a deep playoff run this year.
Welcome to episode 230 of Alberta Dugout Stories, the podcast. I'm Joe McFarland. It's been another eventful week in Alberta's baseball scene, and among a few of the highlights, Eric Sabrowski has made his much-anticipated debut in the Cleveland Guardians system with the AA Akron Rubber Ducks. He's made 3 relief appearances so far, going 4 innings, allowing just 1 hit, no runs, 4 walks, and 7 strikeouts. Vintage Sabrowski indeed. Dawgs Academy and Okotoks Dawgs product Matt Wilkinson made his debut with the Cape Cod League's Chatham Anglers and was, in typical tugboat fashion, dynamite, throwing 5 innings of no-hit ball out of the bullpen to get the team the win. More than a few people think, he might just be getting a phone call when the MLB draft happens in just a few weeks. And on the WCBL front, the power rankings are back with the Okotoks Dawgs on top. They sport a 10-3 record with Moose Jaw Miller Express sitting in second at 9-3, and Sylvan Lake taking up the number 3 spot with an 8-5 record. But don't look now, as both Lethbridge and Regina are nipping at their heels, as they both now have 8 wins on the season as well. On the stats front, Moose Jaw's Dawson Tweet still leads the batting average charge at .474, while Eric Radachak of Brooks has taken the lead in both home runs with 4 and RBI with 15. On the mound, how about Sylvan Lake's Ty Boudreau? He's 2-0 in 3 starts with 16 strikeouts, and get this, an ERA of 0. A goose egg. Fantastic stuff. We're hoping to get him on the show soon. On to our guests for this week. We'll start things off with Medicine Hat head coach Mark Goodman. The Mavericks are hovering around that 500 mark right now, sitting in 3rd in the East Division at 7-8. Goodman, who has a lengthy and decorated coaching history, believes consistency will be the key if the Mavs want to have a lengthy playoff run this summer. Coach, thanks so much for joining us here on the podcast.
Oh, thank you.
Well, first off, welcome to Medicine Hat and welcome to the WCBL. How have you found the first few weeks here?
Oh, I've loved it. It's a great experience. We've had some good road trips and got to see some nice yards. So far, so good.
What was it about the opportunity in Medicine Hat that got you slapping together a resume and saying, hey, let's go north?
It was just a whim off the ABC website. I saw the posting and thought I'd give it a shot. I had previously coached the last 3 years in Colorado and won the league every year, so I needed a new challenge and thought, what's better than this?
Absolutely. What was it about this kind of challenge, or even going across the border? What was it that really stood out to you as far as an opportunity perspective?
I mean, I thought this seems, everybody I talked to said nothing but great things about the Canadian League up here, and the Mavericks have a good program and a good front office, and it seemed like a good spot to be. So, I did my research, and it was why not, more or less. But, when you got an opportunity like this.
Mm-hmm. Coming in, did you have a mindset or an identity that you wanted your team to build, or is that something that you kind of have to build during the summer as the season goes on because you have so many moving parts and so many new faces to come along for the ride?
I mean, I have my core, my core basic fundamentals and philosophies that they have to stick to, which everybody should. But other than that, it's like, you get what cards you're dealt and you play the best hands with them. I never try to make these guys into something they're not. So as long as they get together and become one as soon as possible, that's what the best part about it is.
So walk us through that then from your core principle perspective. What kinds of things do you expect out of your team on a day-to-day basis for those who haven't been able to check out a Mavs game yet?
Biggest things with me is situational hitting, and for pitchers-wise, it's not walking guys. Right now, we can't seem to buy into that, and it's really hurting us. But back at school where I coach at, that's our number one thing, and we've been in the top 5 in the country the last 2 seasons for it, and it's kept us, getting to the conference tournament every year because of that. So I try to bring that with me to summer ball to help these guys just to go back and be better players at school. Not necessarily if we win a championship here or not, but if they go back and become a starter or an all-region or all-American, I did a pretty good job.
Mm-hmm. When you look up and down that roster right now, what do you see? What kind of identity do you see developing out of this core group?
I mean, we're fighters. We always fight. We've had some late-inning games, close ones. We walked one off at home. We don't give up. We're scrappy. We're not the team that's going to sit back and have 7 bombs a game or, wait for that 3-run bomb. But, we're scrappy, we're running, we're putting base hits together. And as soon as we stop walking guys, our pitching staff's going to be pretty dangerous.
Mm-hmm. What kinds of expectations do you have of this group as a whole? Or do you kind of whittle it down to, as you mentioned earlier, sort of that individual perspective where you want to make sure that each player is getting better as the season progresses?
I mean, both that and at the end of the day, we got to win games too. So, it's are we being able to just catch the ball, throw the ball, field the ball, hit the ball? If we can do just those things, then we'll be fine. Our biggest part right now is we're just beating ourselves. Nobody's really beating us. We're giving up ground ball errors when we don't need to that cause 4-run innings. We're walking 2 guys and then giving up a double. So once we stop shooting ourselves in the foot, we'll be 100% fine. And that's just what I'm trying to get them to do. The less mistakes during your college season, the better as well.
We were kind of joking off air a little bit about the challenges of the schedule so far for the Medicine Hat Mavericks. There's been a lot of road games in the first couple of weeks here. How challenging has that been, or has it been a bit of an opportunity maybe for the team to get to know each other and gel a little bit so that when they are at home for the latter half of the season, it kind of proves to be a good thing because everybody's kind of galvanized and rowing in the same direction?
I think it's a little bit of both. Our last trip to Weyburn, Regina was, we got 2 wins out of it and then a rain out. So it was a really good trip. The boys really got to know each other. And there's nothing to really do in Weyburn but hang out with the boys. So that was a great one. Obviously, this last trip where we went Sylvan to Fort Mac and back was a little different. We 10 hours up there. We left the hotel, get to the field at 6, don't even get to hit. Games at 7, we play it, we don't do our best, and then we're back on the bus for another 5 hours. That's something those guys have never experienced, so that's a little tough part of the road trip, but it's good for them. If they really want to play pro ball, that's what it's like.
Mm-hmm. You're no stranger to that summer college season. How tough is it to get all these players together? They've got all the different backgrounds, all the different experiences, and get them going in that same direction, because it's not a long season, but it's not a short season either. So you don't have a lot of time, but you have a little bit of time.
It really starts with those pregame meals or those preseason meals. As soon as we get here hanging out, having practice, having meals, letting them know who my true colors are and our assistants' true colors are, and showing them that we actually care. And, it kind of just goes from there. Once kids know that you're actually there for them and there to help them, they usually give you a little bit more. So at the end of the day, it's about them. It's never about me.
Mm-hmm. You've probably heard that this is Medicine Hat's 20th season in the WCBL. What does it mean to you to be a part of that and maybe build upon the legacy that this team has?
Oh, I'm super proud of the opportunity I'm getting here to do this. Especially with the 20th season, it's awesome, and I hope that we can make it a better season than last year, and at least try to get to 500 or higher, and do the best we can for this town, because it's a great crowd, it's a great home base, and we love to give them a show and give them their money's worth, because this is obviously one of the best towns in the league.
Speaking of legacy, you've had quite the run in your playing and coaching career. When you look back on it to this point, any favorite memories or moments where you had to go, I can't believe I'm doing this, man?
But sitting on that bus back home last night kind of made me think about it after losing 19-3. But other than that, it's memories these guys are going to make forever. Just kind of makes my day knowing that I have more guys talking to me through summer ball teams than I do college teams, because it's just a different atmosphere, different experience, and things that they'll never forget. So it's tough being away from my family and my kids, but these are like my summer boys, so I love it.
How cool is it to have that kind of impact over the course of your career, being able to build those relationships and also be able to, catch up with players and maybe even owners or community members, that kind of thing, and be able to wax nostalgic a little bit every so often?
Well, it's just awesome to see them grow and see where their future goes, whether it's on or off the field. And, I've had a few that have made it to the show, and we've had a few that, haven't. And it's just awesome to see them grow. I've always been in coaching or education, so it's just something that is part of my passion. And it's great. You always go to some town. Baseball makes the world small, and you're always seeing some team. Regina's pitching coach, I just met him the other day. Found out we lived a mile and a half away from each other.
No
so,
way.
It's just crazy things, now we're up in Canada together. So it's just crazy the stories that you have and the experiences through these summers.
No kidding. Conversely, what have been some of the biggest challenges or hurdles you've had to overcome over the course of your career?
I think some of it was when I had a few years of bounced around from school to school as a coach. The instability of knowing that you're going to be there and build something was tough for me, but now I've got a home in mind, and I love it there, and it's helped me grow as a coach, I think, beyond more strides than anywhere else. So I think that's probably the biggest one.
Very cool. Well, final question for you here, Coach, and we'll let you get back to it. What does the game of baseball mean to you?
Oh, it's awesome. It's a game of life. You can do things the exact way you think it's going to work out. It doesn't. You can throw the right pitch and still get hit. Like, it's not fair, but it is life. And it's so many experiences out there that if you can get through a game of baseball and not lose it in your head, you'll be 100% fine in life. And that's what I try to tell these boys when they're turning into men.
Mm-hmm. Coach, we'll really appreciate the time. Thank you so much for joining us here on the podcast.
Oh, I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Next up is Lethbridge Bulls infielder Kalem Haney. He's having himself a solid start to the season, hitting .333 with 5 RBI and 4 stolen bases through the first 13 games. The Vauxhall Academy of Baseball product had a great first season at the University of Mary this spring, hitting .288 with 2 homers, 20 RBI, and 5 stolen bases in 47 games. Kalem, thanks so much for joining us here on the podcast.
Yeah, for sure, anytime.
Off to a solid start with the Bulls again this season. How are you enjoying being back at Spitz Stadium?
It's been good, yeah. We've had crowd support so far. It's been nice to obviously live at home and meet a lot of the new guys that are in Lethbridge here playing for the Bulls.
This is your hometown team after all. What's it like getting to suit up at a stadium that you probably spent a lot of time at as a kid?
Yeah, it's nice. Obviously, I idoled a lot of the guys that when I was growing up going to Bulls games, and now that I'm the idol for a lot of the young fans in Lethbridge, it's been nice to just sign balls for the kids, get to meet some of the parents of the kids, and then also see a lot of friends and family at the game.
Speaking of the Bulls of yesteryear, did you have a favorite player when you were growing up?
Yes, I did. Mike Coe. He was one of my uncle's best friends, and he was my favorite player when I was growing up.
Very cool. On the flip side of that, and I've asked a few guys this, how weird is it to get that first autograph request, 1, and 2, have you been able to perfect being able to sign a baseball?
No, baseballs are definitely harder to sign than just a piece of paper. But yeah, obviously you sign 4 or 5 balls or hats, whatever it is. So you get used to it. But yeah, it's been good.
What's been key to your success so far this season?
I think just seeing pitches up, hitting the fastball. I don't try to do too much, obviously. There's guys behind me that will drive me in if I get on base.
When you look at this roster, though, what do you see in terms of the potential?
I think we're a lot better team this year. We have a lot more pitching. We have very good bats 1 through 9, and then even guys that aren't even in the lineup. We have they're contributing when they need to. So it's been good. Yeah. We have a lot of talent that I think we can make a deep playoff run this year.
Well, and you've had quite the adventurous 3 seasons so far, and that's part of the reason why I asked that question is you've seen both extremes, right? You went from winning a WCBL championship in your first year, missing the playoffs last year. How do you use both of those polar extreme experiences to shape your approach for this season?
Well, yeah, obviously I've been on both sides. I've seen a winning team, and then I've seen a team that didn't win many ball games. So it's hard. It's just that experience with some of it, because there's a lot of guys that were on that Wick Bowl championship team, and then they played last year with me. So we all kind of have experience on both sides of the equation, and it's been nice. So now we kind of can take it and try to win more games. And some of the new guys that haven't played in the Wick Bowl before, it's a gauntlet. Every team can win on any different night. So yeah, it's been good.
As one of the veterans on the team, what's been your main message, especially for those who maybe haven't gone through a summer here yet?
I would say just enjoy it. Not many of these guys will ever come back to Canada. Some of them are from California. They're never going to come back to Canada after playing for the Bulls. So you just got to enjoy it and have fun and just enjoy baseball. We're just playing a kid's game, right?
On the flip side of that, and you probably experienced this at UMary, is it kind of fun to be the host to a certain extent for a lot of these kids who haven't been to Canada before? This might be their second or third time through, and you get to be sort of the host, the billet, guide them around town kind of thing.
Yeah, it's nice. It's all the spots that people hang out. You know where to go to grab a bite to eat. So it's nice to just have guys. Hey, do you want to go work out? Hey, do you want to go grab some wings or whatever it may be?
And I mean, you're a Lethbridge kid through and through, right? So you know a lot of those spots a lot better than maybe some of the other guys do.
Yeah, for sure. Because a lot of the guys went to Vauxhall, so they know Lethbridge, whatever. They know the surrounding areas, so they've been to Lethbridge. They know some spots, but just me, I've lived in Lethbridge pretty much a whole life, and I know where to go for anything, really.
Speaking of the Lethbridge side of things, how cool is it to have been able to see your journey involved in so many different levels of the game in that same community? I mean, when you think about, your little league days all the way through, and you played Elks, you played all these, and now you're at the top of the top when it comes to ball in Lethbridge with the Bulls.
Yeah, it's obviously it's because it's cool, right? Like pretty much a lot of the guys I've played with my whole life. Like I've played since I was 11 years old with, and it's been nice to build those relationships. Like there's still some of my bestest friends that I played with when I played ball with them at 11. So yeah, it's been nice, and it's now really cool that I've gone through every program, played for American Legion, and now I'm playing for the Bulls again.
Mm-hmm. You're coming off a pretty solid spring at UMary. You hit 289, a couple of homers, 20 RBI in 47 games. But when you look back on it, how would you rate your performance?
Yeah, I think it was pretty good. It was with my redshirt freshman year. I was still kind of a young guy on the team and playing with a lot of older guys just because with COVID, everyone kind of got a year of extra year of eligibility. So it was good. I learned a lot of things from the older guys, which was nice. Just the everyday grind of playing college baseball.
Mm-hmm. What was the biggest challenge or hurdle that you had to overcome in sort of adapting to that new spot and being in a new town and being in a new country and all those different pieces?
I would just say just relaxing. Like for me, it was like I was so uptight when the season first started. I struggled. I was striking out. I was making an error. Like it was just difficult. Like it's the same game that we've played our whole lives. It's just you're on a bigger stage, I guess.
Mm-hmm. So looking back on it now, looking forward, what do you have to do to be an even bigger presence next spring at UMary?
I just take a bigger leadership role, I guess. Like as I'm going into my third year of university. A lot of the older guys are kind of graduating. I got to kind of step up for some of the freshmen they're going to be in the same scenario I was, like uptight, nervous, like you just got to kind of relax. And I'm excited for the year to get going though, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Looking back as well, you mentioned Vauxhall earlier. What did that program mean to you, both as a ball player and also as a human being?
It means everything. Like, honestly, I wouldn't be the ball player I am today without going to Vauxhall. The friendships I made there will forever last in my life, and yeah, living in the dorms is something that I will forever cherish. The memories I've made at Vauxhall is for sure something that I will cherish forever.
Very cool. A few rapid fire questions here as we wrap things up. First off, what's your favorite walk-up tune?
Right now I'm rocking Let's Get It Started or Get It Started by Pink.
Oh, wow. Like going back into the throwbacks there. Well done. Favorite ballpark food?
Oh, I got to go hot dog.
Hot dog. And what toppings do you have on that hot dog?
Usually a chili cheese dog.
Okay. All right. Do you throw any condiments on top of that or nah?
Sometimes ketchup.
All right. Speaking of, is a hot dog a sandwich?
Oh, no.
Why not?
I wouldn't. It has its own name, so it wouldn't classify as a sandwich.
Fair enough. On your typical off day, where will most people find you?
I would say on the golf course.
Which segues into my next question. If I wasn't playing baseball, I would be fill in the blank.
Golfer.
Finally, favorite baseball memory?
I would say winning the Wick Bowl championship in 2021.
How different was that year? Looking back on it, I mean, we've been through quite a bit over the last few years here with COVID and that. When you look back on it, how do you remember that whole run, that whole summer?
I would say just like the guys. A lot of those guys were because it was a Canadian only league, so a lot of the guys were local. So I kind of knew a lot of them. So that was nice, and got to play with guys that were 3 years older than me. So I got to learn a lot of experiences from them too. Like Ty Penner, for instance, he was 3 years older than me, and he really kind of took me under his wing, and it was nice.
Mm-hmm. I was going to mention that as well. Is talk a little bit about some of those influential characters. I mean, you think about some of the people that have gone through. You look at Damiano and Adam Mako both doing really well with the Blue Jays system right now, but Ty Penner signing last year. Those kinds of talk about some of those influential characters in your life, whether it be with Vauxhall or anywhere else.
Yeah, for sure. When I went to Vauxhall in grade 10, and Liam Volcano he was at Vauxhall. He was grade 12. He was a middle infielder, and he taught me a lot of things when I was there. He really helped me turn to the infielder I kind of am now. And then when I was that summer with Bulls, Ty Penner he's a great guy, and he helped us, a lot of us younger guys, really kind of turn into the ball players we are. Like helped us relax, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic stuff. Well, final question for you here before we let you go. It's the one we ask everyone. What does the game of baseball mean to you?
It means a lot. It's just like it's honestly, if I wouldn't be playing baseball right now, I don't know what I'd be doing. Like, it means a lot. The memories, a lot of the memories, right? Like everything that we've done pretty much our whole lives, it's been baseball, and I've been to a lot of places because of baseball. I've seen a lot of the world because of baseball. So it's been good.
Fantastic stuff. Well, Kalem, congrats on all the success you've had at this point, continued success with the Bulls and beyond. And thanks again so much for joining us here on the podcast.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me.
And finally, Connor Crowson has seen it all in Okotoks. One of the first to go through every Dawgs Academy team, he was a guest on the podcast in early 2021 when he announced he was committing to Bossier Parish Community College. Since then, the hard-hitting infielder had 2 solid years with the Cavaliers, including being named to the All-Conference team this past spring. He's also into his 3rd season with the WCBL Dawgs, sitting 2nd in the league right now with a .462 batting average to go along with 7 RBI. Connor, welcome back to the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
After a very successful couple of years with the Dawgs, you're back for more and off to a great start, obviously. As we record this, you're hitting .462 with 7 RBI through the first 8 games. What's been working for you so far?
Just been trying to swing in that first pitch, see what I get, and see the ball deep and hit it the other way. I was rolling over the first few games, and then I was just like, we just made an adjustment, honestly, the whole group, and we were just being more selective, and it paid off the last 2 games of our road trip there.
Talk a little bit about that approach at the plate. It seems as though there's a couple of different minds at play. Like, you see some who are like, you got to be super aggressive, go for the first pitch because it might be the best pitch you got. And then others are like, hey, wait for it, like work a count, that kind of thing. Where's your mindset as it stands right now?
I'm a huge, the first 2 is for you, and then the last one, you just battle your butt off and try and get on base, try and put a ball in play and move a runner over. That's really how I've grown up, like hitting. And I think that's everyone's approach. We got a few guys on the team that get the ball out of the yard, so obviously they're taking more hacks. But I think it just all works as a team, and we've been proving it a little bit this year.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned it. The team's off to a flying start, number 1 in the rankings thus far. What's the vibe in the clubhouse right now?
Oh, we're always having a good time. This is one of the best groups. I think the best group this year and last year I've ever played with. We are always having fun, and we play the game like kids. And I think at every level, the team that plays like kids is going to go far into the playoffs or league or whatever. And I think we have a good shot this year at doing the same thing because we just have fun, enjoy it, and we all gel together, and all the new guys coming in are awesome. So I'm really excited for this year.
You were part of that championship team last year. When you look at that team versus this team, do you see anything different? Are they built kind of the same, just happen to be a year older and a year wiser? Or maybe what is it that makes you think you can win it all again?
I think last year was the closest team that's ever come through here. Every single day we were doing stuff together on the bus trips. Like, we nonstop chatting on the bus, and it was the best year of my life, baseball wise. It was awesome.
Mm-hmm. Is there a difference in the room when you've got Big Bear in there versus Lou Pote, or is Lou kind of saying, you know what, let's just do what worked really well for us last year?
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. We're just going to keep it rolling. Both great baseball minds. I've been coached by Lou before, and it was awesome. He knows everything. He's done everything. The stories he tells are unbelievable. And I love Schmitty too. Great guy. Huge team morale guy that can get you fired up. And both will work out. I'll tell you that.
Mm-hmm. You're a Dawgs OG, having been with the academy through all the different teams, likely dreaming of that day where you'd be stepping foot on the WCBL field. What's it been like being able to realize that dream and be able to stand in front of a packed house like you've been able to do the last few years?
Well, every single time I hear my name called up on the field, I get the butterflies. So it's a real feeling. It's awesome. I love playing in front of the fans and with my best friends I've grown up playing with my whole life. It's a dream. It's awesome.
Last time you and I chatted was back in February of 2021. It was 2 years ago. It feels like an eon ago. You had just signed your commitment to Bossier Parish. Now we're talking about you heading out of Bossier Parish. Looking back on it, benefit of 2020 hindsight, what did that program mean to you?
It gave me a chance to play every single day and keep living my dreams. So I'm more than thankful for everyone over there, all the coaches, all the teammates, and I made new friendships over there, which was what I really go into there for, is to meet new people, and then we all get to play beside each other in the game we all love. So I think it was a great experience for me, and I wouldn't change a thing.
You also got to do that with a few familiar faces as well, guys that were from Alberta, from the Dawgs. How did that help you in being able to kind of acclimatize to the college life?
I was really grateful for that, having Justin Breen and Alejandro later came on after he left Crowder. And then the next year we had Hank and Kobe Levins. They were my roommates. All of them are my roommates, and I was more than happy to have that, because you have someone that's close with you, and then you go out and do stuff, and then you meet all the new guys, then everyone gets close, and it just chemistry was through the roof because of that for me. And we just had a lot of good group of guys for both of those years. It was a pleasure.
We were talking off air about how the playoffs ended a little more prematurely than you obviously wanted, but from a personal standpoint, it's hard to argue with the fact that you had a pretty good last year over there, all-conference team member. What did that recognition mean to you?
It was pretty cool. I just was every day showing up to the ballpark wanting to get better, and just that competition down there, like all the schools, yada, 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 was really competitive, and I loved every at bat. I'm going up there with that competitive attitude. I'm going to beat you, and everyone was like that. So it was really cool seeing that baseball play every single day.
And you're getting to continue the journey as well. You're heading to the University of Montevallo. What was it about that program that made you think that that's going to be the next right fit?
The coaches, they were very about team bonding and like that team culture, and I think that's what's a winning program. And they were obviously first in the conference, which that's pretty enticing. So I just think that the team culture, that's a huge part for me.
So looking ahead, I know you've still got a summer season to worry about and that, but do you have your eyes set on things you want to improve on, or things that you got to make sure that you're hitting the ground running kind of thing as you head into the first year there?
Just stay active in the weight room, keep trying to get bigger, faster, and then just getting my at-bats in defensively too, so that I'm ready and well kept for the ball in Montevallo, and then I got to earn a spot.
Speaking of the Dawgs, when you headed into this summer, outside of the obvious, which is winning a championship, did you have any personal goals or things that you wanted to accomplish by the time the summer's out?
Championship and playing in that All-Star game would be pretty darn cool. That would be sweet. Last year was good vibes, seeing Ricky, Alejandro, Luther, Geeky, all those guys in there. That was pretty sweet.
Clearly, you're off to a good start with that batting average. I think that might get you a few votes just on its own. To wrap things up here, Connor, we're going to do a few rapid fire for you. And here we go. First off, your favorite ballpark food?
Nachos.
Now, I've asked this of others when they've said nachos. Tell me about the fixings. What do you got on top of those nachos?
We got that warm queso, maybe some meat like steak or bacon. Probably bacon because ballpark ain't that fancy, but that's all I'm rocking with. cheese and chips.
No hot peppers or anything crazy like that?
Maybe I'll make some. No, I'm not a huge spice guy. I can't handle spice. I can't.
Fair enough. Your favorite baseball movie?
Moneyball.
Why Moneyball?
It's just a great story. It just come out from being that one and then putting a little analytics in it. I like analytics. I like looking at that stuff, and it just works, and it's just a very good movie. I like Jonah Hill and Brad Pitt. They're good actors too.
On the analytics front, do you find yourself focusing in on your own analytics at all?
I would say no for the most part. Like, I'll check in like halfway out and see what we're doing, what do we need to fix and stuff. Like, if my on-base percentage, if I'm swinging at bad pitches or whatever, and that's how I feel, then I'll look at it. But mostly for fantasy baseball. I like looking at my guys. So.
Who's your go-to fantasy baseball guy?
Shohei Ohtani. They need to fix his point system though, but he's the GOAT. He does everything. He's the GOAT.
If you got to take him as a pitcher or a batter, which one are you going for?
Pitcher. He is nasty. He throws frisbees.
That's fair. On the bus, not to out a teammate, who snores the loudest?
Matt Wilkinson. He's got a symphony back there. He's a loud snorer.
And you're allowed to out him too because he's playing somewhere else now, right?
Yeah, he's in the Cape Cod dominating, doing his thing, and when you're that good at baseball, like I can out you out on snoring.
That's fair. How cool was it to see his first outing there?
All the boys were watching the whole game. I was really excited for him. Good competition over there, and he did his thing, absolutely dominated. So I think it's going to be exciting for him. This coming up in July here, I think he's going to get a phone call.
Absolutely. A couple more for you. Your favorite walk-up tune of choice?
Wow. I'd say "Give Me Everything" by Pitbull. My walk-up this summer. I think it gets the crowd going a little bit. And, I love feeling the vibes.
Very cool. And finally, who is your hero?
I'd say my father. Honestly, my mom and my dad, they've done so much for me. They've worked their butt off their whole life trying to put me through Dawgs, school, everything, and they've been unbelievable. They just have great story, just like they didn't come up wealthy or whatever, and then they just worked their butt off their whole life, and they're two great people.
Absolutely. Well, here's the final one for you. And I know you answered this the first time we chatted, but I'm curious how your answer has changed over the last 2.5 years. What does the game of baseball mean to you?
Game of baseball? Honestly, it's just like my go-away place from like if something's like, say something goes wrong or something like that, I just go to baseball and like just everything vanishes. Like I got to see all the boys. And then after that, we go hang out. Like, it just takes me away from everything in life. Like, it's just like, as soon as you step over those lines, you're just in baseball, and I've loved it my whole life. So it's just a happy place, I'd say. Happy place.
Mm-hmm. For the record, the last time you answered, you said, the game of baseball is the passion and love of my life. I've been doing it since I was a little kid, and I've been dreaming about baseball my whole life. I have to get past this point. Hopefully COVID will leave, and we'll be ready to go. Obviously, COVID did leave. We're ready to go. You're obviously ready to go. You've proven that. Connor, congrats on all your success to this point. Continued success in Okotoks and beyond. And thanks again for joining us on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks again to Mark Goodman, Kalem Haney, and Connor Crowson for joining us this week, and thanks to all of you for downloading and listening. If you haven't already, leave us a rating and review on your app of choice, as those actions help spread the word about ADS. We'd also like to tip our caps to our Platinum supporters for all they do for us and for baseball in Alberta. The Okotoks Dawgs and AHP Academy have been so generous in helping us tell the game stories in our province. For more on our teammates, head to albertadugoutstories.com/supporters. Until next time, thank you for all of your support online, on social, and on air of Alberta Dugout Stories.